All right, so you're prepping for an ICT Network Engineer interview, and you want to totally nail it. We're going deep into RoleCatcher's resources. Think of it as your crash course to dominate this interview.
The cool thing about RoleCatcher is it's not just about memorizing answers, it's about getting that thinking behind them.
Yeah.
That's what really wows those interviewers.
So before the questions even come up, let's get on the same page about what an ICT network engineer actually does. I mean, it's got to be more than just like fixing the Wi-Fi, right?
Oh, way more. Think of them as like architects, but for digital highways.
Uh-huh.
Within an organization, they design, implement, maintain these computer networks, making sure that data is flowing smoothly and securely.
Okay, so a pretty big responsibility then. RoleCatcher has this awesome database of real interview questions, specifically for ICT network engineers. Let's tackle some of those common ones and figure out how to craft some killer responses.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's kick it off with a classic. What is your experience with network infrastructure design and implementation? This is where you really get to showcase your hands-on experience.
So not enough to just say, I'm good at networking. Gotta get specific.
Exactly. Think about those projects where you played a key role, like designing and implementing network infrastructure. Maybe you set up the network for a brand new office building, or helped migrate a company to a cloud-based system, or even just optimized an existing network for better performance.
Okay, let's say I worked on setting up that network for a new office. What kind of details would really make my answer stand out?
Don't be afraid to get a little technical. Mention specific technologies you used, like Cisco routers or Juniper switches, the types of cabling you chose, the security protocols you put in place. Talk about any challenges you ran into, like budget limits or tight deadlines, and how you overcame them.
It's almost like telling a mini story about my experience.
Precisely. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful. You input your experience and the specific job description, and it actually analyzes your answers, suggests how to tailor them to that role. It's like having a personalized coach to help you fine-tune your responses.
That's really cool. Yeah. All right, let's move on to another one. How do you ensure network security? This one feels like a big one.
It is. And it's getting even more crucial with all these cyber threats. Interviewers want to see that you get it. Security is about way more than just firewalls and antivirus software. It's about taking that multi-layered approach.
Okay, so what are some of those layers? What should I be talking about in my answer?
Think about things like intrusion detection systems, security audits, penetration testing, user training, data encryption. Did you implement any of those in your past roles?
I did implement a two-factor authentication system at a previous job. That definitely made things more secure.
Perfect example. Explain how you implemented it, the challenges you faced, the impact it had on their overall security. They might even follow up with something like, what were some of the challenges you faced implementing two-factor authentication?
Good point. So it's not just giving the right answer. It's about explaining my thinking and how I solve problems.
Exactly. Now here's another one that often trips people up. Can you explain your experience with network protocols?
Okay, so I know protocols are important, but I get a little lost with all the acronyms. TCP/IP, DNS, DHCP. Help.
No worries, it's totally understandable. The key here is to show them you've got a solid grasp of those core protocols and how they work. Like they might ask you to explain the difference between TCP and UDP and why you'd choose one over the other in certain situations.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how much depth they're looking for in these answers. I need to brush up on my networking fundamentals for sure.
You got it. And again, RoleCatcher can be a big help here. They've got these AI-powered quizzes and simulations. You can test yourself on specific topics, figure out your weak spots, and focus on improving those areas.
Okay, let's tackle another one. RoleCatcher flagged this one as especially relevant. What experience do you have with network virtualization?
This is your chance to really show off your knowledge of cutting-edge tech.
Uh-huh.
Have you worked with platforms like VMware NSX or Cisco ACI? Have you implemented virtual networks in a cloud environment?
I've played around with virtualization for some personal projects, but I haven't done it on a large scale. How do I address that in an interview?
Just be honest. Acknowledge that you've got limited experience, but emphasize your eagerness to learn. Talk about those projects you've worked on, even if they're personal, and explain the concepts you've learned. You can even mention specific courses or certifications you're pursuing to gain more expertise.
That's good to hear. So it's not about having done everything already. It's more about showing I'm willing to learn and adapt.
Absolutely. And here's a potential follow-up you might get. Can you describe the benefits of network virtualization and how it can improve business operations?
Okay, so I need to be ready to explain the why behind the technology, not just the what.
Exactly. Think about cost savings, scalability, flexibility, improved disaster recovery capabilities.
Got it. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of network management. How do you ensure network performance and reliability? That feels pretty broad.
It is, but that's on purpose. They want to see how you approach this complex challenge. Think about the key metrics that impact performance, like bandwidth, latency, packet loss, and jitter.
So I need to show them I understand those metrics and how to monitor them.
Exactly. Have you used tools like SolarWinds or PRTG for network monitoring? Have you implemented any quality of service policies to prioritize critical traffic? Those are all good things to talk about.
Yeah, I've used SolarWinds before to find bottlenecks and optimize traffic flow. Could I use that as an example?
For sure. Explain the situation, the tools you used, the steps you took to identify the issue, and the solution you implemented.
And this goes back to that idea of telling mini stories to showcase my skills.
Exactly. Okay, let's shift gears to something becoming increasingly important. Can you describe your experience with network automation?
Or I'll admit, this is where I get a little nervous. I know automation's a big deal, but I haven't had much hands-on experience yet.
That's totally fine. It's a relatively new field, but it's picking up steam fast, even without tons of experience. You can still demonstrate you get the concepts and are willing to learn.
So what are some of the key concepts I should be familiar with?
Well, there's scripting languages like Python, automation tools like Ansible or Puppet. Think about the benefits of automating network tasks, like configuration management, software updates, and security patching.
I've actually been taking some online courses on Python and Ansible. Could I mention that?
Definitely. Shows initiative and that desire to stay ahead of the curve. You could even discuss the potential benefits of automation, like increased efficiency, fewer errors, faster deployment times.
It's cool that even my personal efforts to learn can be valuable talking points.
Absolutely. It shows your commitment to professional development.
Okay, we've covered a lot on the technical side, but what about those softer skills? How do those come into play during an interview?
Soft skills are just as vital as technical skills in this role. Interviewers are looking for strong communication, problem solving, and teamwork skills.
So how do I showcase those during the interview?
It's all about how you present yourself and your experiences. Like when you're talking about a tough project, highlight how you worked with your team to overcome obstacles. When explaining something technical, make sure you're clear and concise.
So it's not just the words I use, it's my whole demeanor and how I interact with the interviewer.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice your interviewing skills too. It provides feedback on your video responses, helps you improve things like body language, eye contact, and overall delivery.
That's super helpful. I'm feeling more confident already just thinking about how to approach these questions.
That's the power of preparation. And honestly, we've only just scratched the surface. There are tons more questions you might get in an ICT Network Engineer interview, but these principles we talked about today will definitely help you tackle them with confidence.
This has been super insightful. I feel like I've got a much better grasp on what interviewers are after and how to craft those standout answers.
Glad to hear it. And remember, practice makes perfect. The more you practice your responses, the more confident you'll feel on the big day.
Well, I'm definitely ready to dive into more practice with RoleCatcher's AI tools. But before I do, one last question. What about career growth? Where can this role take me in the future?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore more in the next part of our deep dive. We'll discuss the different career paths for ICT network engineers, from specialization to leadership roles, and how you can leverage your skills and experience to advance your career.
Sounds like we have a lot more to unpack.
We do. So make sure you join us for part 2 of our deep dive into the world of ICT network engineering. Welcome back to our deep dive into ICT network engineering. Last time we tackled those tricky interview questions. Now let's shift gears a bit and explore where this career path can actually take you.
All right, so let's say I nail that interview and land the job. What's next? What are my options for growth in this field?
Well, the cool thing is there's so many different paths you can take. You might choose to specialize in something specific, like network security, cloud networking, or even wireless technologies. You become a real expert in your niche.
Makes sense. Tech is always changing, so specializing seems like a smart move to stay ahead.
Exactly. And as you gain more experience and expertise, you might find yourself moving into leadership roles, managing teams of network engineers, overseeing big projects, making strategic decisions about the whole network infrastructure.
So from specialist to manager, there's a lot of room to grow. What are some key skills I should focus on to really advance my career?
Well, technical skills are obviously essential, But don't underestimate those soft skills. Communication, problem solving, teamwork, those are all super valuable at every level. Being able to explain complex technical stuff clearly to non-technical people, that's a huge plus.
Right, because even if you're a brilliant network engineer,
Yeah.
if you can't communicate your ideas, it's going to hold you back.
Absolutely. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful. They have a tool that analyzes your skills based on your resume and work experience, and it suggests areas where you could improve.
So it's like having a personal career advisor,
Mm,
helping me figure out my strengths and weaknesses and develop a plan for growth.
exactly. They also have resources like mock interviews and feedback on your communication style, which can be incredibly valuable as you climb that career ladder.
Speaking of climbing the ladder, RoleCatcher's career guide outlines different stages of progression for ICT network engineers. It's pretty cool to see how responsibilities change over time.
It is. It usually starts with entry-level roles, like network technician or support engineer. You're assisting senior engineers, troubleshooting basic issues, and getting that hands-on experience with network equipment and software.
It's all about building that foundation.
Exactly. Then, as you move up to those junior and mid-level positions, like network engineer or network administrator, you take on more responsibility. Configuring and maintaining network devices, implementing security measures, maybe even leading small projects.
And at the senior level, you're basically the mastermind behind the whole network.
In a lot of ways, yeah. Senior network engineers or network architects, they're the ones designing and implementing those complex network solutions, evaluating new technologies, managing budgets, mentoring junior team members.
Wow. Sounds like a lot of responsibility, but also really rewarding.
It is. And if you love technology and solving problems, it can be a super fulfilling career.
RoleCatcher's guide also mentions staying current with the latest technologies and trends. How do you keep up in such a fast-paced field?
Continuous learning is key. Industry certifications like the CCNA, CCNP, or CompTIA Network Plus Loyal, those are really valued by employers, shows your commitment to professional development, attending industry conferences, reading technical publications, online forums, all great ways to stay in the loop.
So a mix of formal learning and just keeping your ear to the ground.
Exactly. And don't forget about networking. Connecting with other professionals, going to meetups, joining online communities, it can expose you to new ideas, opportunities, even potential mentors.
So it's not just what you know, but who you know as well.
Precisely. Building those relationships can open doors and accelerate your career growth.
This is making me realize that a career in ICT network engineering, it's so much more than just technical skills. It's continuous learning, adaptability, communication, building relationships.
Exactly. It's dynamic, it's evolving. You need a whole range of skills and a real passion for tech.
Speaking of passion, one thing that stood out to me in RoleCatcher's guide was the emphasis on the impact ICT network engineers have on the world.
That's a great point. We kind of take networks for granted, but they're the backbone of modern society. How we communicate, access information, how businesses run, governments function. Networks are at the heart of it all.
And as technology keeps advancing, the role of ICT network engineers just becomes even more critical.
Absolutely. They're the ones shaping the future of connectivity, enabling new possibilities and driving innovation across industries.
Okay, we've covered career paths and growth. But before we wrap up this part, I wanted to touch on something else RoleCatcher mentioned. Transferable skills.
Oh, good point. Even if you decide to switch careers later on, the skills you build as an ICT network engineer are valuable in so many industries.
So what are some examples?
Problem solving, critical thinking, analytical skills, communication, teamwork, those are all essential no matter what you do.
That's reassuring, knowing that the effort I put in now can pay off even if I change paths later.
Absolutely. It's about building that solid foundation of skills that can serve you well throughout your career.
This has been super insightful. I feel like I have a much clearer picture of the career path and the skills I need to succeed as an ICT network engineer. But we're not done yet, right?
Right. In the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore a fascinating aspect of this field, one that's often overlooked, its impact on shaping the future of networks.
That sounds intriguing. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
It's a topic I'm pretty passionate about, so make sure to join us for part 3 of our exploration into ICT network engineering.
So we talked about what it takes to be an ICT network engineer, how to ace that interview, and those amazing career paths you can take. But now, let's zoom out a little. What's the future of networking? And where does this role fit into all of that?
That's a really cool question. And it goes way beyond just, setting up routers and cables. Think about it. Our world is getting more interconnected every single day. From the way we work and talk to each other, to how we entertain ourselves, even manage our homes. Networks are like the invisible threads holding everything together.
So ICT network engineers aren't just building systems. They're shaping how we interact with the whole world.
Exactly, and that influence is only going to get bigger. RoleCatcher's Guide highlights some major trends transforming the field. Things like cloud computing, the Internet of Things, 5G.
Oh, yeah, let's break those down. Cloud computing's huge. I get that.
Right.
But what does it actually mean for network engineers?
It means they need to become experts in designing and managing networks that aren't stuck in one place, like businesses moving their data and applications to the cloud. Suddenly, network engineers are dealing with virtual networks, distributed systems, a whole new level of complexity.
Okay, so it's not just about the office network anymore. It's about this massive interconnected cloud ecosystem.
Right. And then there's the Internet of Things. We're talking billions of devices, everything from smart fridges to industrial sensors to self-driving cars, all connected to the Internet. This throws a whole bunch of new challenges at network engineers. They got to make sure these networks are reliable, secure, and can handle that crazy amount of data.
Sounds kind of overwhelming. How do you even start managing a network with that many devices?
It's a huge task for sure, but it also opens up some amazing possibilities. Think about smart cities optimizing traffic flow in real time, healthcare systems monitoring patients remotely, factories working super efficiently thanks to interconnected sensors. Network engineers are leading the way in making those things happen.
That's incredible. Okay, what about 5G? It's supposed to be super fast.
Yeah.
I know. But how does it impact networks?
5G isn't just about speed, it's also about ultra-low latency. So basically, there's almost zero delay in data transmission. This unlocks a whole new world of possibilities: real-time applications, immersive VR, augmented reality layering digital info onto the real world, even remote surgery, where doctors control robots from miles away.
Wow, that's mind-blowing. So ICT network engineers are going to be crucial in building the infrastructure for all these next-gen technologies.
Absolutely. They'll be making sure data flows smoothly and reliably, even in the most demanding situations. And as these technologies evolve, network engineers need to adapt constantly, learn new skills, push the limits of what's possible.
So the role of an ICT network engineer is always changing, just like the tech itself.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so dynamic and rewarding. You're not just working with technology, you're shaping how we connect with the world and each other.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive. I have a whole new appreciation for this role.
It's definitely a field that often flies under the radar, but as you can see, it's at the core of so much in the 21st century.
And to anyone thinking about this career path, check out RoleCatcher. Their resources and AI tools can give you a huge advantage, especially in a field that's changing so fast.
Yeah, it's been great diving into this with you.
And to you, our listener, we hope this deep dive has left you feeling informed and inspired. As you start your own career journey, remember this: the future of networks is being shaped right now, and you can be a part of it.
Until next time, keep exploring.